Hi there, this is Tej from Tax Assist Accountants, and I hope you're all well. And what I'm going to talk to you about today is risk and risk management. Now, there are traditionally four approaches to risk. One is to avoid it, the other is to accept it, and in between those two is either to transfer it or mitigate it or minimize it. Now, avoid and accept are the two ends, so hopefully that doesn't require a lot of explanation. It's kind of self-explanatory. The other two methods, strategies, are transfer and mitigate. Now, transfer basically means where you're kind of outsourcing that risk. So a typical example is insurance. So whether that be physical assets or people, so things like keyman insurance, public liability, employer liability, professional indemnity. So you get the idea, you're transferring that risk basically. The other strategy is to mitigate or to take steps to reduce the likelihood of that risk occurring. Now, typical risks in business are, you might be over-reliant on one or two customers. So if they stop trading with you, then you're going to have a big hole in your revenue. Staff, you might be over-reliant on a particular member of staff or particular members of staff, and what if they left or they got hit by a bus tomorrow? What would you do? Sources of business, you may be reliant on a particular source of lead generation. Again, if that dried up, you might have referral partners that refer a lot of business to you. What if they went? You'll have a hole in your kind of lead generation and marketing net. So they're the kind of typical risk a business faces. Now, possible measures to counter those: widen the customer base. So if you have a particular offering, you might be able to change that offering to appeal to different markets or customers, and it may be lower value but more volume. So that way you're spreading your risk. Staff, you might offer them attractive reward packages as a carrot. And perhaps restrictive covenants as a stick. You might want to spread that workload. You might want to document the procedures perhaps to be less reliant on them just in case they weren't there anymore. And also, I've already mentioned keyman insurance. That's where you can transfer that risk. In terms of your lead generation, you may want to widen your marketing net. So for instance, we get a lot of walk-ins. We have shop front premises, so we get a lot of walk-in traffic now because of COVID-19. Obviously, our offices are shut. We're working from home, so we've lost that lead generation method. So we have to adapt and be less reliant on walk-ins. So, but you may have other generation methods. But again, be aware of not being over-reliant on a particular source of income. For instance, we have a lot of walk-ins, but we have parking outside now. There may be major disruption in terms of parking, so that way then people can't come and see us. So again, that's a risk that's out of our hands that we may face. So we have to be careful that we're not over-reliant on a walk-in. We still have a good mix of referrals, internet online searches, advertising, etc. So you get the idea anyway. So it's a good idea to regularly assess the various risks in your business and to try and have strategies in place to deal with them. Now, in the current climate, nobody could have planned or predicted this. So it's exposed risks in a lot of people's business models. Look at Primark, very successful retailer. When most of our high street is struggling, they've been doing really well. However, they have no online offering. Now, it may be because the shops are so successful that if they had an online offering, it would cannibalize sales from the shops, and shops are expensive to run. So that might be a reason. I don't really know. I'm just guessing, really. But it has exposed the fact that because of COVID-19, the shops can't open, and obviously then they can't sell. Whereas if they were online, they would still be able to trade and sell. So many businesses in this current climate have had to, pivot and adjust their offerings and business models. Can we sell online? Can we meet online? Can we go direct to customers? For instance, whenever there's an economic downturn, one of the first things that tends to get hit is training budgets, rightly or wrongly. So can you apply the above examples to a training company? So, for instance, if you're a training company, can you offer cheaper alternatives online instead of classroom training? Shorter, cheaper courses, or perhaps go direct to employees rather than to the employer. Staff-wise, can you have freelancers, self-employed people on your books rather than salaried staff? Venues, can you hire the venue? Can you hire an office rather than rent office space? Get people to work from home and only have a space when you actually absolutely need it. So it's a good idea to take a look at the risks in your business. Now, you may have been forced into it now because of the current COVID-19 crisis, but you should continue to assess those risks, which may have been brutally exposed by COVID-19, and then take steps to avoid, accept, transfer or mitigate those risks. So hopefully you found that useful. If you need any help, please give us a shout, or you want to have a discussion about tax and accounts, you know where we are. We're here to help. Take care.